Hey folks, Will here again with Happily Ever Outdoors. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Ka-Bar Jarosz Turok. Alright guys, so it is a beautiful day out here in the state of New Jersey, early November, so it's pretty cold right now, but the woods are super quiet. Nothing but birds. I almost ran into a deer coming in here, but real quiet, real nice, real peaceful out here. Before we delve too far into this, I just want to clarify that I would not consider myself to be a knife expert. I don't own really any high-end or custom knives. I generally just don't have the budget for it. So when I'm looking at knives, I'm looking for quality at a very reasonable price point. I also like to invest money in companies that are producing products right here in the USA when I can. And unfortunately, those two in our current economy aren't always compatible. With all of that being said, when it comes to a survival knife, that is one area where you do not want to skimp on quality. This isn't meant to be a little light duty bushcraft knife for carving spoons and sharpening sticks. This is meant to be a super solid utilitarian type tool that can take a beating over an extended period of time. You want something that's going to be able to handle heavy tasks, to handle them repeatedly and not break, chip, anything like that. You're also going to want something that's not going to require a ton of maintenance. That means oiling, sharpening, all that good stuff, because that might not be feasible in a long-term survival situation. You also want something that's going to work in a fighting or self-defense type situation as well, whether it be wild animals or, unfortunately, depending on your situation, it could end up being other individuals. And in my mind, the Ka-Bar Jarosz Turok does a really great job of checking all of those boxes. So taking a look at this knife, you can see this is a fairly large knife. Now this is not an extremely large knife as far as survival knife standards go, but it is pretty hefty. This knife is made out of 1095 Cro-Van steel, so this is a very good steel that it's made out of. You can see it is also very thick, so you are not going to break this thing. It does narrow up on the top there, as you can see as you get towards the front, which is kind of what lends itself more towards like the fighting self-defense. You can see that profile as far as like stabbing goes. It's gonna penetrate easier that way. So a lot of times more bushcraft type knives, you would see like a flat hard spine all the way down the top, but you don't see that with this knife because it's kind of in between there. Now this thing does come very sharp from the factory, and it also takes sharpening very well. I just use I have a Work Sharp field sharpener. It's got ceramic, diamond plate and strop on one little tool, and as far as most of the time out in the field, that works really well. to sharpen this thing back up, and it'll come to razor sharp very easily. It's also a coated blade to help prevent corrosion. You can see mine does have some wear there from use, but I've also put this through some rough testing, some batoning, things like that, to make sure it would hold up. And so given what I've put it through, the coating is still in very, very good shape. And of course that's going to help prevent corrosion over the long term. Now I also think the handle scales are really nice on this. I like the design of the logo there. It kind of harkens back to the Native American heritage where the Turok name comes from. Some people say that the scales are a little bit slippery. I would agree on that. They could maybe be a little more textured. This particular material just kind of tends to be a little bit on the slippery side. So if you wanted to, if that was a concern for you, you could put some like sports tape on there to give it a little more grip. But I've never really had a significant issue with it. You've also got a lanyard hole built in right there that's metal, built right into the tang of the blade. So if you wanted to put either a wrist lanyard on there, or some people like a pinky lanyard where you just put your pinky finger through there to help keep it from slipping, if you're doing heavier tasks with it, you could do that as well. It's also pretty well balanced. You would think that this thing would be front heavy just at first glance, because it has a somewhat narrow handle in the back, very large blade in the front, but it's actually balanced really, really well. So you can see more or less the center point of balance as far as the weight is concerned is right there, which is about where you would want it to be. So really well balanced, which means this thing is going to be comfortable not only for working with it in utilitarian type tasks, but also if you were forced to use this to defend yourself, it's very well balanced as far as that's concerned. It's also really comfortable in the hand, whether you're holding it like this or you flip it around, holding it like that. So if you were having to manipulate this thing in a struggle, it's going to work and be very fluid and easy to use. Of course, with a Ka-Bar, there's also the expectation that it's going to be extremely durable, especially when you're looking at a Ka-Bar like this one that's made in the States right in Olean, New York. So we'll do a couple of quick durability demonstrations so you guys can see how well this thing takes a little bit of abuse. Alright, so you guys can see that this knife is definitely tough. It is made to take a beating. Next, I want to spend a little time talking about the sheath that comes with the Ka-Bar Turok, because I actually think it's pretty good. Alright guys, so this is the factory sheath that comes with this knife. You can see it is made of like a heavy duty nylon. It's basically one big fat strap is the main structure back here. Has just a regular belt loop. There's no way to unbutton that, so it's just going to be, you'll have to slide it on when you put your belt on. You've also got a retention strap right here that's really sturdy. So if you have that clasp, this thing is not going anywhere. But even if you're using this thing out in the woods, taking it in and out of the sheath, and you choose to leave that undone, it's still very secure in there. It's not going to pop out. It's not going to move around too much to where it's going to get in your way or anything like that. So the way this is designed, it fits in here very snugly. You can see they built a little ramp right there with some texture for your thumb to push off of. And so you'll push off of that, and that's what will unclasp. You can see kind of the mechanism that actually retains it is right there, and that fits right in there snugly. So that is not going to pop out. Now with that being said, it's tight to the point, like right now, my hands are pretty cold. So my dexterity is not 100% there, so it's actually a little bit difficult to get it out. And when I was wearing gloves, I actually had to hold the sheath and pull it out. So depending on your preference, I'm sure if you heat this up, you might be able to manipulate it if you wanted to make it a little bit looser. But if your primary concern is that you don't want your knife to come out, that's definitely not going to be a problem. Probably my favorite feature of the sheath, though, is the fact that it's ambidextrous, meaning that it can be configured for either a left-handed or a right-handed person. Given that I am a left-handed person living in a right-handed world, I always appreciate that when I see knives with ambidextrous sheaths. So the way this is going to work, you've actually just got this Velcro right here. So you would just pull that back, and then the strap comes loose from the hard portion of the sheath, and you can just flip that around. And boom, you're ready to go. It's back into a right-handed configuration for the majority of the people in the world. So again, great if you're a left-handed person, not only because you can configure it properly for yourself, but if you were to say, lend this knife to someone else, they could go ahead and just flip it back around and wear it right-handed. And it is very minimal effort to do so. So overall, I think this is a really well-designed sheath. It's going to be super strong. It's going to last forever. You're not going to have to worry about replacing it, and it's got a lot of functionality to it. So guys, I hope this video was helpful to you. I'm the type of person, again, I operate on a really limited budget most of the time when it comes to my knives, so I'm very particular about what I buy. I want something that's well made, that's functional, and it's going to last for a long time. I want something that's going to take a beating, and it's not going to give, it's not going to break, and I'm not going to be constantly having to maintain and sharpen it. With all of that being said, as far as survival knives under $100, this is the best one that I have ever handled by far. I have yet to find one that was as good as this for the money. So I encourage you, take a little time, do some research, look up some more of the reviews on YouTube. You'll see even some of the biggest knife channels out there are giving this thing great reviews because it performs across the board in every way that you would expect it to. The Turok is sleek, it's tough as nails, and it definitely gets the HEO seal of approval. So once again, this has been our review of the Ka-Bar Jarosz Turok. Feel free to leave your comments and questions below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video if you want to keep seeing more content like this. Thanks for watching.